Hey, hello. Um, Today we're going to present a very interesting case about Mercedes-Benz, and we have a few questions that we're going to solve. My name is David Hernandez. I'm with George Serafim and Jiwon Chung, and we're going to answer these important questions.
Yeah, first I will talk about first questions that until recently what has been Mercedes-Benz distribution strategy in Australia. So briefly I will say like Mercedes-Benz sold cars through a conventional franchise dealer network and they imported the cars and sold them wholesale to 52 independent dealers and the dealers can boot and finances or inventory themselves and carrying the floor plan interests and register value risk. Determine the ultimate transaction price through negotiation. So two customers routinely pay different prices for the same vehicle and acts as a full service brand interface, handling trends in finance and insurance and after service and the in-showroom theater that luxury buyers expect. So I researched that like 2021 to 2025 is a little bit changed. So I briefly paraphrase some important things like 2021 decision and final year came. So Mercedes-Benz informed its 50 plus Australian dealerships that the loan franchise agreement would expire on 31 December. So the dealers who felt strong army into accept the new arguments for the $650 million claim for compensation in federal court. And 2022 live agency models came and 2023 like the name Jonathan Batch handed down a 653 pages ruling affirmatory the dealer's claim and confirmed that Mercedes-Benz can have the rights when it transition to fixed price agency selling. And 2024, 37 dealers made a claim that the previous ruling has a problem that can misinterpret the franchise code requirements. So they focus remains on bringing luxury cars under the agency model, and the fixed price model is still intact on the showroom. So globally, the parent company remains committed to its previous outline objective of 25% of sales on the line and 80% of European volume through agency outlets by 2025, emphasizing that Australia forms a part of the wider strategy. I will go through second question that why is Mercedes-Benz introducing a new distribution agent model? First is that limit price, handling and re-establish trust. So CEO Horace von Sandek took responsibility for how repeat of most customers felt when a friend informed them they had done a better version at a Saturday barbecue. And second, bring the online shopping experience into line. So across the world, the frequencies of visit to dealers has fallen from 8 to 1 or 2 on average, that some buyers will never visit the showroom. So agents model was termed that the future by board member Rita Seger as it enables customers to decide how much dealer contact they really want. So it's all caused by COVID-19. And so centralized control over stock, margins, and customer data. So by keeping ownership of every vehicle until delivery, Mercedes-Benz removes the inventory burden from dealers and eliminates intra-brand discounting that illusory values. And first, proof of concept from the 2019 EQC pilot, the company experimented with agency selling when you load out its all electric EQC. Nine selected dealers may merely deliver cars purchased online by consumers. And last, and last conclusion with global strategy, Mercedes-Benz already has agency sales launched in Sweden, Austria, India, and South Africa, and is working towards having 25% of worldwide sales on the model by 2025. So this kind of move is meant to offer one price, one online-offline relationship, and one center managed pool of inventory. The idea is to reduce customer operations and safeguard brand equity and position Mercedes-Benz for a future in which luxury cars and their owners are as web ready as they are road ready.
Okay, so now on to question three. We're gonna be talking about what type of change is this one. So this is both a strategic and structural change with implication at the local and global levels. Globally, the change is part of Mercedes-Benz Ambition 2039 strategy to try to modernize its operations and reach carbon neutrality. So it is being implemented in several countries such as Sweden, Australia, Austria, South Africa, and others. The goal is to digitize the customer journey, increase control over pricing, and move toward direct to customer sales. While locally in Australia, it's a major disruption to the traditional dealership model. So Mercedes now owns the stock, sets fixed the price, the bypasses traditional dealer negotiations. So mainly the dealer becomes an agent rather than an independent reseller. So what we can say is that overall this is a transformational journey change, and it is aiming to reshape how cars are sold and how customer interact with the brand. So on to question four. And here we are gonna be talking about who are the stakeholders, and we're gonna try to do a stakeholder analysis. The implementation of the of Mercedes agency model in Australia affects a variety of stakeholders with, of course, differing interests and levels of support. So below the idea, we're gonna be talking about a stakeholder analysis, trying to identify the main groups involved, their roles, and how they are impacted by the strategy and the shift, and their positions regarding the change. So, first of all, one of the main major stakeholders would be Mercedes-Benz Australia, having or a national branch executing the agency model. The interest would be gaining full control over vehicle pricing, customer data, stock ownership. The impact is increased control and consistency in pricing, while the position we can say would be strongly supportive of the change because they're the one who are initiating the whole thing. Then the Mercedes-Benz dealership and other stakeholders such as Starlight and others having a role of they are definitely previously franchised dealership, so they are now asked to become agents. So we can see a shift in their positioning. Their interest would be to preserve autonomy, profitability, as well as the long-term investment in the brand. While in terms of impact, we will definitely see significant loss of control and margin flexibility. Many dealers may even argue that the new model undermines decades of investment made from their side. The position will be they're mostly opposed. So in the case we saw that 40 out of 52 dealers filed the lawsuit worth of 650 millions, claiming forced participation and loss of business value. the next stakeholder would be the customer, which are the role of the buyer of the Mercedes vehicles. Their interest would be for, of course, seeking transparency, having value for money, and positive buying experience. The impact on them would be mixed. So here, some customers would welcome the fixed price model and digital purchasing, while others may dislike the removal of price negotiation, bargaining, which 95% of surveyed buyers valued the position as a negotiation and the bargaining thing. Then the position would be they would be definitely divided as for the impact. So a range of opinions would be we will have. So some of all them would be with, others would be against, depending on individual preferences. A fourth and another very important stakeholder would be Mercedes-Benz Global HQ. And their role would be again a strategic leader and global driver of the change of the agency model as well. So their interest would be to streamlining operations, boosting brand consistency, as well as accelerating digitalization and electric vehicle sales. In terms of impact, it will definitely align with the 2039 strategy and ambition. So it will promote global uniformity and increase profitability on their end. Their position will be strongly supportive. We still have two other stakeholders, which are the competitors, such as I'm gonna name some of them: BMW, Honda, Tesla, and others, of course. Their role would be other car branches navigating their own sales model. So their interest would be to observe, test alternative models in response to the model that Mercedes-Benz initiated. The impact would be again mixed. So here, some of them, such as Tesla users, they already use a similar model successfully. While BMW, on the other hand, would favor a much more hybrid approach that maintains dealer involvement, negotiation at some point, and other things. So the position would be such very similar to the impact, which is mixed again. So some of them would be very cautious towards it, or some others may select it, but a selective adoption, I may say. Then the last, but definitely not least, would be regulatory bodies such as governments, especially Australian Competition and Consumer Commission, which is kind of related to government, having a role that ensures compliance with the competition and consumer laws. Their interest would be to prevent anti-competitive slash anti-corruptive behavior, and definitely to protect customers. Their impact would be to monitor the fixed pricing, ensure legality and fairness between competitors, and their position. Then here it could be very neutral because again they're government and governmental agencies, so they should be neutral vis-a-vis all the competitors, but they will definitely remain vigilant and keep an open eye. That's it. So I give it to you, David.
Thank you very much, George, for those valuable insights on our stakeholders. So now I'm gonna ask you what I think it's one of the most important questions, which is what did Mercedes-Benz do well in this change program, and what did they can improve or did wrong? So at first, I believe that something that they can change, or sorry, that they can do that they did very well was the strategic vision and also the global alignment of the strategy. The agency model, of course, supports Mercedes-Benz Global Ambition 2039, as George mentioned. The strategy, as well as also aligns with digitalizing goals, including carbon neutrality and price transparency in a, and scalability online. Other thing that I can highlight as a job well done was the successful pilot launch of the EQC, Mercedes-Benz piloted the model with the EQC, which is an electric SUV, in 2019, showing that the idea could be tried with minimal dealer engagement, basically just with brand and branding operations and marketing, online prioritizing and centralizing billing. By removing price handling, which according to the surveys that were worked out, customers top source of frustration. It measured customers that they weren't overpaying, and also in comparison with other dealers that were having not the same strategy but similar strategies to the Mercedes one. Another thing is inventory and margin management. Basically, they accomplished a complete control over their whole car inventory, prices, and also customer information, providing brand value and profit, but as well providing reliability for the customer. Another positive point would be clear and consistent communication with the stakeholders, as addressed by George. Uh, by shifting in public places, board members such as Britta Seeger encouraged flexibility and consistency among the dealerships uh, worldwide and their engagement with the brand. Finally, what went wrong and what happened? So, uh, low dealership participation and transition. 49 of the 52 dealerships that were involved in this process were opposed to the change. Most of them were strong armed, let's say, into signing contracts with minimal negotiation and also face shutdown if they did not sign the misalignment or corporative strategy. Another negative point was the legal and reputations risk. The 1,650 million lawsuit and appeal generated public misalignment and harmed as a whole the reputation of the brand in ongoing dealership arrangements that were taking place at that specific time and place. Underestimation of customer segments, while as understood with the previous questions, most customers accepted fixed prices. 94% reported that having the ability to negotiate was also essential to them in order for them to feel that they were getting a good deal by creating a transactional or a financial relationship with the brand. And finally, execution gaps in the transition of the model. There were several avoidable operational impasses in the first rollouts that could have impacted the customer's experience with the transition. So, what would Mercedes-Benz should do now? We choose the option C, which is adopt a hybrid strategy, such as the one that's used by BMW Australia. Basically, a hybrid approach would maintain the strategic advantages of centralization while also keeping fixed pricing and restoring value and trust to dealers, which is also critical in this specific luxury segment where customer experience and personalized service it's one of the highest importance bullet points for the customer. So, which benefits or upselling points BMW's hybrid approach facilities has? First, centralized and digital specifications, dealer engagement, while emphasizing on specific customized experiences for the customers, which is something very useful and needed in the luxury segment of car selling. Uh, Relationships with dealers, uh, while sustaining specific relationships with the customers, These relationships with the dealers sustain customer segments who love haggling and or customized experiences while purchasing a car. Finally, it supports Mercedes-Benz data-driven digital retail vision, which basically emphasizes on data-driven insights, which can lead to a better performance and alignment of the customer community with the brand. And Mercedes cannot go back completely to the past since the agency model does have a significant strategic benefits, but this new digitalized uh, upselling model has other advantages that can appeal to a broader range of customers. So, finally, total centralization would endanger short-term and long-term alienation of customers and dealers, and BMW hybrid would balance strategy would balance um, ID and new strategies and include also the previously mentioned stakeholders as well. So this was all. I think we could have drawn up very important conclusions about this case study, and it was a very interesting matter for us. Thank you very much for listening.